Hello, everybody. It's Dr. Sarah Allen, and you are on A Little Bit of Magic. And today we are at the motherland. We are at Standard Process headquarters, farm and facility, certified organic, both the land and the processing facility here in Palmyra, Wisconsin, near and dear to my heart. If you know me as a patient, a friend, or family member, you may know that I was able to put my rheumatoid arthritis into remission using food as medicine, nothing but food as medicine. And so when I first came to Standard Process nearly a decade ago, when I first started my practice, I was blown away because they believe in the same principles that I do, is using whole food nutrition. And I have grown to love this company. I've grown to understand how it works, and I help a lot of patients using their products. And so here I am today on a tour. I'm so glad you're here. This is the oldest supplement company in America, founded in 1929. This farm has been here since 1987, and the soil is in better condition now than it was then because of all the ways they amend the soil. And they're constantly growing and learning and creating to make their products better and better and better. And I'm just so thrilled that you get to see what it's all about. So I'm going to take you behind the scenes, and thanks for joining. And before we step into the farm and I take you through the fields, I need to introduce you to the founder of Standard Process, Dr. Royal Lee. He was a researcher, an inventor, and a visionary, and one of the earliest advocates for whole food nutrition. He believes something radically simple, that the human body heals best when given the purest, most complete nutrition nature can offer. Long before whole food nutrition even became a trend, he was studying the soil, the minerals, the enzymes, and the delicate structures inside real food that make healing possible. In 1929, he created Catalin, his very first supplement. Not a synthetic pill, but a concentrated food, carefully grown, carefully dried, and preserved to maintain its vitality. And I learned early on that formulation he created for his mother who was ill. And it is still Standard Process's multivitamin. Dr. Lee designed equipment that could mill grains without destroying heat-sensitive nutrients, as you can see in this picture. He fought to preserve the power of real food at a time when industrial processing was stripping it away. And this entire farm, from seed to soil to supplement, still honors his philosophy that food is medicine and that the way we grow, harvest, and process it deeply matters. So are you ready to see where it all begins? This is the heart of Standard Process. Here in the rolling hills of Palmyra, Wisconsin, Standard Process farms more than 700 certified organic acres. Across this landscape, they grow the core ingredients for their whole food supplements: alfalfa, buckwheat, beets, kale, Brussels sprouts, sweet potatoes, oats, and so much more. Some plants are grown for their nutrients. Others are grown to nourish and regenerate the soil itself. Every crop has a purpose. Every plant is chosen for the nutrients it naturally carries, nutrients that become the foundation of the supplements I use every day in my practice. Okay, this is the beautiful buckwheat field. We just toured the processing facility and I got to watch them cut and juice it, extract the juice and dry it. So beautiful. It's very high in rutin, which is actually the whole form of vitamin C, not ascorbic acid. There is another variety that's also very high in quercetin. And currently Standard Process is developing their own natural hybridized seed that is going to be the most nutrient-rich buckwheat available, both for rutin and quercetin. So they're in the research phases of that. How beautiful. I also learned that Standard Process has access to over 100 varieties of buckwheat worldwide, and they are one of the few growers of medicinal Tartary buckwheat in the nation. All right, we are living my childhood memories. When I was a kid, I used to pretend I was Wonder Woman and go out into the fields and spin around before I would go out and save the world. and get my cape going. But this is a beautiful alfalfa field, and alfalfa, you think of that as what cows eat, but it's actually used in standard processes, formulations. It's very high in chlorophyll. It's very nutritious. I believed so medicinally in its health benefits that when I lived in Brazil, South America, I would juice alfalfa. And I think that's the richest source of chlorophyll I have ever seen. It was just so rich and black. So dark and green, it looked black. And I just grew up with an alfalfa field in my backyard. And so it has an emotional appeal to me as well. But just wonderful to see it here. Organic alfalfa. All right, here's mountain spinach, and I would like to show you the field behind me. They just harvested it last week, but I have the leaf here, but it's already been harvested. It's a natural electrolyte. It's very high in salts and electrolytes. Let's see how it tastes. Not bad. Mountain spinach. Quite delicious.
Mountain spinach, also known by its Latin name Atriplex hortensis, begins right here in the greenhouse, as you can see with these beautiful young seedlings.
This is a natural pollinator garden. So our pollinators have something to feed upon all year long. And they put them adjacent to crops so that they're attracted to maybe the alfalfa field or the buckwheat and can do their jobs and help us continue to grow.
Let's take a look now what regenerative farming looks like in real life. Caring for the soil, protecting the land, and growing food in a way that gives more back than what it takes.
Okay, that's the pivot irrigation system.
Pivot irrigation allows water to be distributed slowly and evenly across fields, reducing runoff, protecting the soil, and supporting regenerative farming. This is one of my favorite parts, watching the weed picker in action. And as you can see, those wheels out in front skim the top of the beet plants and pull out the weeds as it drives along. And this is one of the reasons that standard process does not need to use chemical herbicides, protecting both the crops and the soil. And this is another special treat, watching fresh buckwheat being pressed into juice. Every crop at standard process is pressed twice, and everything that is picked and harvested that day is processed that day to achieve maximum nutrient retention. And here you have the buckwheat juice. Look at that green goodness, and I can tell you it tastes pretty delicious. And here is the pressed buckwheat pulp, and guess where it's going? That's right, it's going to the compost pile, and I even got a little wave there.
So that truck's actually bringing the buckwheat for the compost pile. What auspicious timing. And here at Standard Process, they produce 3.5 to 4 million pounds of compost per year. That is why, one of the many reasons why this soil remains in pristine condition and keeps getting better and better and better. And here we are in a very fresh pile of compost. It was just pressed. It is buckwheat. And man, I can smell it. It smells so good. It smells so good. So fresh. So there's no heat in this because it was just processed. And what's really interesting is they have to, whatever they harvest or cut that day has to be pressed. And so this is extremely fresh. They do it on the very, very same day. So this is another row of compost here. This is about 2 to 3 weeks old, so you can see how it's matured. And it's much richer in color. Let's see if there's any heat. Wow, yes there is. Feel that goodness. Amazing. Oh my goodness. All right, let's go check out the compost and play a little bit. Wow, it's hot. Oh my goodness, it's so hot you can barely touch it. This is nutrition for the soil. Wow.
Here you can see them turning the compost. This keeps oxygen moving through the pile and helps prevent harmful bacteria like E. coli from forming.
All right, so here's another row. This row of compost is probably 3 to 4 weeks old. And you have to think about compost as it's really creating nutrition for the soil. It gives the soil much more complexity of organisms and also makes the soil much more rich. Okay, let's see if we can dig. Ooh, don't have to dig too far here. Even the smell is different. Wow. Beautiful. And just look at how tacky it is. And that's how the soil is affected as well. Reminds me of growing up in Minnesota on the farm. It was beautiful. All right, and here we have a semi-finished product. This just came off the refractive window dryer at Standard Process Farm. This is a relatively new dryer that uses steam and warm air to dry in a very gentle way to protect the nutrients. And this is pea vine, believe it or not. And I asked Art, my tour guide, if I could try a little bit because I love fresh raw food. And if you can see, it really has a way of preserving the nutrients. So they've only had the dryer for a few years now, and it's a very innovative technology. But I don't know if you can see. It's like, honestly, it's kind of like taffy, like a delicious green taffy. I think you'd try it. A lot of the products that we carry, that I have in Standard Process that you may be consuming, have this delicious and nutritious nutrient.
Now we are shifting from field to formula, the processing and quality phase.
All right, here we go. We're going to go into the plant, and I certainly wish I could take you with me, but for proprietary reasons, pictures and videos are not allowed. But you can still check it out. Just go to YouTube, Standard Process Manufacturing, and you can see what it's all about.
It's incredible. Every step of processing happens on site here under immaculate tightly controlled conditions. While I can't take you inside myself, I'll share a glimpse of what happens next through their approved digital footage. Standard Process harvests approximately 6.5 million pounds of organic produce every year, and here you can see it being transformed into finished supplements. As we reach the final part of our story, I've always been extremely impressed how Standard Process cares for the people who work here.
So, the Wisconsin State Journal often rates Standard Process as the #1 company in the state for employee benefits, and one of them is having Vita Kids Learning Center. So it is a subsidized daycare. They also have a fitness facility, 2 chiropractors on staff, as well as a massage therapist, a fitness room, and organic food and meals for the staff at a very nominal fee. Okay, everyone. Well, that is a wrap. Thank you for joining me today at Standard Process Farm and Facility. It's always inspiring coming here and to be reminded of the care and quality that goes into producing these supplements and to see how it's affected my patients. If you're curious about what I do with nutrition and how I utilize Standard Process as well as other supplements, just reach out to me and I'd be happy to tell you all about it. So thanks for joining today and take on the day. And don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm Dr. Sarah Allen on A Little Bit of Magic.